Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I just kind of wanted to quickly discuss some of the issues that I've had with Master Duel as of late. And I think a lot of people are having similar issues with the game, and I just kind of wanted to come on here and discuss them. I already did a stream where I did this same thing with chat, and we kind of went over mostly a ban list, because I think that is the biggest thing most people are concerned about. But I do want to discuss some of the other things, as well as just more concisely explain my own feelings towards a lot of the things. So yeah, first and foremost, I want to mention the fact that this game needs a ban list that is more specifically centered around best of ones. I don't think setting this game up as a best of 3 simulator is a good idea. Now, this is the ban list that I and my chat kind of came up with together. I probably missed something. I probably, should limit or unlimit or something like that. But with this, I do want to say, with this ban list that we have created as a group, I'm actually going to be hosting a tournament with this ban list, and if you want to check that out, click the link to the Discord down below. Check out the event page where all of this is available for you, and I will be announcing it there. It will probably have already been announced by the time this video goes out. So there's that. But yeah, I just wanted to discuss my thoughts with the ban list and what would realistically help Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel for best of ones. And the first thing that I want to say is that the problem with Master Duel is that there are so many overpowered cards and overpowered just instances of interaction that really need to be ironed out for best of ones. In best of threes, when you can side deck against things like Skill Drain or Kaiser Coliseum or Barrier Statue, or you're able to go first/second, whichever one you prefer, it's very easy to actually get wins and to be competitive, especially when you have things like a sideboard that can side in that specific hate against things like Flunder or things like True Draco or Eldritch or something like that. In this game, because that is not the case, you do have to ban the decks differently. You do have to limit things differently. And so, as you can see, a lot of the things that are on the banned list here are things that are just absolutely problematic and cause too many issues just in general. Now, we did unlimit some things as well, which aren't issues. So there's that. But yeah, there are just too many big blowout cards within this. So first of all, we have Ava and Ben 10. Ben 10 is on here more as a future-proofing. I think this card is just so good as generic support because it does search out a Light Fairy, which happens to be both Monju and Senju, which, those two cards on normal summon search out a ritual. So if we get a better ritual archetype, this card's going to get even better. We also have Ava because being able to basically just get 2 discards off of a single discard, yeah, it just replenishes itself. It's kind of stupid, kind of overpowered. So it's banned. Realistically, do these need to be banned? No, I think in best of ones, though, even just seeing the one Ava with ultimateness can just turn off the entire, your entire deck. Cyberstein can summon any fusion. Period. Just special summon a fusion. Absolutely insane. There's a lot of fusions that just shut down a whole lot of interaction. So there's that. Pretty self-explanatory with that one, I would say. Next up, we have Max C. So this card, I don't think needs any explanation. It doesn't stop combo. Combo is the deck that oftentimes can play it. This card just kind of wins you games. It wins you games by itself, which is mostly what I want to try and avoid. Things that just are problematic to out and therefore can just win you games by themselves. Next up, we have O-Lion. O-Lion is just one of the best tuners in the game, and with insane synchro monsters that we have available, it probably deserves to be banned. Being able to generate a token while not really having any restrictions on said token, while being a good level and a tuner, kind of disgusting. Barrier Statue. It's a barrier statue. What did you want? Fairy Tale Snow is not actually all that used in a lot of decks, but when the branded fusion comes out, it will be absolutely invaluable. And banning it now is, one, preventative as a measure for the branded fusion stuff, but also it is very good even now because grass, as you can see, we didn't actually ban grass. I don't think grass is more so the issue, but with 60 card decks or just decks that mill a lot of cards, or just having the ability to dump snow into the graveyard for additional disruption from grave as a quick effect is kind of crazy. I don't know why this card came back to 1 in the TCG. It did, for some reason. Immediately saw play in a lot of top tier decks. I think it's at 3 in Master Duel, or in OCG. Not entirely sure how it's done there. But yeah, this card is just ripe for abuse. Probably deserves to be banned, especially in best of ones. Next we have Misk. It turns off your interaction. It's just, you just turn off your interaction if you're playing a dinosaur deck. It's that simple. Not fun to play against, not fair in best of ones as well, because if you do have a way to interact with your opponent, they turn it off. Scythe, pretty self-explanatory. Block Dragon, also pretty self-explanatory. This one is also more just like future-proofing. It kind of just destroys everything. Next we have Protoss. This card is a floodgate for a lot of different archetypes because it just calls an attribute. All of a sudden, that attribute is offline, and it can protect itself. So you can call dark, turn off all dark decks. Kind of crazy. Harpy's Feather Duster. This is a bit controversial, I am sure, but again, the reason for this is I wanted to have the ability for people to play whatever and not get absolutely punished by a single one of. This is probably the most punishing one of, besides the other two that are already here with the IO and Vanity's Emptiness. So, while I did hit back row decks, I felt like I also needed to hit a lot of the combo decks, or more specifically decks that wanted to punish back row, like OTKing and stuff like that. And with Lightning Storm still being at 3, you can still play that. There you go. This just means that instead of wiping your entire opponent's back row, you're going to have to actually commit to something, like you're not going to be able to have something on your field, or you're going to have to go for Twin Twister. Is this fair? Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I think Harpy's Feather Duster is a bit too strong in best of ones. Card of Demise. It's 3 cards. It's 3 cards. It's 3 cards. How in the world is this card legal? Engage. It's 2. It's 2 cards. Why is it at 2? This could probably go to 1 and it'd be fine. But in all reality, I think just banning it is a better option. Yeah, that's it. Just it's Engage. This card has been problematic forever. Chicken Game. This card is really annoying and it can be... Basically, it's part of a stall strategy. You could also use it as just a draw one, but it can also be a just part of a stall strategy because the player with the lowest life points doesn't take damage. You activate this effect, you draw a card. If you keep it on the field, sure, your opponent can also draw a card, or you could just deal with it itself, or you could just keep it on your field and then you don't die. It's as simple as that. Oh, your opponent attacks in, you don't die. There you go. Kaiser Coliseum. This one is mostly here because it's very annoying to deal with. I have no idea. Well, I do. I do understand what it does, but it's so very annoying and difficult to understand. And in best of ones, again, floodgates and stuff like that are really problematic. This is basically only here because it is so difficult to understand and difficult to actually play around, unlike a lot of the other floodgates. Brilliant Fusion is used in FTKs. Emergency Teleport is Emergency Teleport. No hard ones to return. You could just free special. Called by the Grave is rather interesting. This has won me so many games because I'm playing a combo deck. I get my combo off. My opponent goes for an interruption, such as a Ash Blossom or a Veiler or a Droll or a what have you. Drop the called by, it's invalidated. Also, I can just set it on my turn. After I've done my combo, my opponent goes, I called by their combo piece that they put into the grave. It's now gone, no effect. It can't be reborn or anything like that. It's kind of crazy. The big issue that I have with called by over something like Crossout Designator is the fact that called by is generic and can be used in anything, doesn't require like main deck cards, so you don't have to put any main deck cards into your strategy to kind of like brick you a bit more like you would with Crossout. Also, it can be used on extra deck monsters, whereas Crossout cannot. Red Reboot shuts down all traps for an entire turn. You just kill your opponent by just dropping this. This card is a sacky dumb one of. Just ban it. You're not seeing it at 1 being played like in anything because it's really good as a side deck option, but just ban the card. It does the same thing that IO does. Does the same thing except for traps instead. We have IO and Vanity's Emptiness, as well as Skill Drain. Skill Drain is probably the most problematic of the floodgates when it comes to just like shutting down everything. I mean, we have Imperial Order and Skill Drain, which shut down spells and monster effects, which are the 2 most common ways to deal with back row. So there you go. The reason Royal Decree is not on here, even though it shuts down another entire third of the cards within the game, is because it is a trap that deals with traps. So you can still activate your spells to deal with the trap that deals with your traps. Like, there are still a lot of ways to deal with that card. The 2 best ways to deal with back row is through monster and spells effects. So there's that. And then Vanity's Emptiness. Here we have Independent Nightingale and Supreme King Starving Venom Dragon. Both of these are for FTK stuff. That's basically it. Next we have Colossus. This card, in Best of Ones, literally wins you games. It's 2600, so it's big enough to beat over a lot of things, and it prevents a lot of decks from even being able to play the game. Like, for example, Flunder or Despia or a wide variety of other decks. Unless you're specifically drawing cards, this is very, very difficult out. And since it has protection as well, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Danglong is a... Oh, wow. It searches in Omni Negate. It special summons when it is sent from the graveyard. It level modulates, and it sends a monster to the grave. What more do you want? I don't know what else to tell you. Rongo Bongo. Yep. Drident. Zodiac, I think the biggest issue with it is Drident. If you ban Drident, I think Zodiac is still playable, but not really worth the payoff, because it's like you just go for Zeus, and you don't really have a follow-up or another interaction. So I think Drident is just like the easiest thing to ban for Zodiac, while still keeping it playable. Galaxy Tomahawk, if you don't know what this says, it basically says you get 5 tokens that are non-restrictive, just 5 straight up tokens. Why is this a thing? Don't know. Yeah, this in Best of Ones can create some absurd combos, so it's banned. Moving on, we have True King of All Calamities. Yeah, VFD. Next, we have Prank Kid Meow Meow Moo. This could have been limited. We tried that out in the TCG. Turns out they were still top tier. Prank Kids with Meow Meow Moo being able to just go normal summon a Prank Kid, link it off for a link 1, and the fact that you can recycle the Meow Meow Moo, yeah, it's kind of disgusting. So yeah, full combo with a link 1, it's always not good. Yeah, just being able to go normal summon, full combo, crazy. Yeah. Next up, we have Isold. Isold also facilitates some FTK stuff, and it's really good in just like link spamming warrior type strategies such as Infernoble Knight and the like, and it does so much. It's basically the Halka Fibrax for link spamming. Yeah, kind of crazy. Next up we have Electromite. The reason for this one is because I would rather have one Electromite banned than a whole bunch of other Pendulum cards limited. Electromite basically consolidates all Pendulum strategies except for like Pendulum spell counters. So like Endymion, that's the name. I knew it was something with an E. So like other than Endymion, basically everything falls under the Electromite banner, and every deck kind of plays the same. You ban Electromite, a lot of other archetypal or different ways to play Pendulum strategies start to poke their heads out and actually be played. So yeah, Electromite is on here for Pendulum because it is the problematic card. Same with Halka Fibrax except for Synchros, and same with Verte except for Fusions. Pretty simple. Next up we have Union Carrier. Yeah, this card is the problem. Buster Dragon Destruction Sword is only a problem because of this, and A couple of other cards are problematic because of this, so yeah, it's banned. We also have some Morrigan here. This is the one I'm least comfortable with. This one could probably be fine at 3, no problem. But also it does create a lot of advantage just because it summons something every turn. Granted, with the barrier statue also banned, probably not nearly as good. Sure, you could go like Apex Avian, but without the Union carrier, Apex Avian isn't going to be an infinite Omni Negate like it is with that weird Galaxy Tomahawk combo. So yeah, lots of problematic cards on here. And then Auroradon for the sins of Halka Fibrax. Before we get on to the rest of the video, did you know that 70% of the people who watch my content aren't subscribed? If you end up liking the content, consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later if you end up not liking it. Anyway, let's get on to the rest of the video. Next up, we have the limited cards. We have Water Enchantress. Chat really wanted me to put something from the Adventure Engine on here. I don't think the Adventure Engine is all that problematic, so I only put the Water Enchantress on here. Realistically, Water Enchantress is fine at 2. Same with Right. Sure, it is very powerful, but I think with combo decks being hit a little bit more, thanks to Hulk and Auroradon, this will be played less, and will more so boost rogue strategies like Plunder and the like, where it's like, oh yeah, they don't actually need their normal. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, the limitation does make sense. Inspector Border. I think stun is absolutely overpowered right now in best of ones, because it's like, oh, I don't get to side deck my hate against stun boards or stuff like that to really pick apart my opponent's board. So, and since these cards aren't the same like side deck cards that you would play against meta strategies, it becomes very problematic. Also, this card is a nightmare to try and figure out and play against. Necroworld Banshee, the biggest problem that I have with this is that it gets to Zombie World at quick effect by banishing itself for cost. So, yeah, you don't really get to interact with this, because if you activate anything and Necroworld Banshee is in the grave, like, it's just going to banish itself, and then out comes the Zombie World. So you can't really interact with it itself. So just a slight limitation to the Zombie World stuff. That's kind of it. Dimension Shifter is kind of broken. I don't think it needs to be banned, but it just needs to be seen less often. Playing through multiple is nearly impossible, and there are a few decks that can, you know, set up multiple. Like, for example, Flu. You can banish with Stree, the Dimension Shifter, drop a second one. Reasoning also kind of facilitates FTKs, as well as is just a problematic card in general. It's a free special summon. That's pretty much all it is. We have That Grass Looks Greener, limited to 1. I don't think it needs to be banned, but limiting it means that you're more likely to play things like Left Arm Offering, which does have a significant cost. So yeah, there's a lot more ways to just kind of stop the grass. So it means that your deck has to be consistent without the grass, and can still facilitate the, you know, pop-off play with grass, while still being able to play around it as well. Sure, if someone activates grass, there's a high chance that they have a lot of plays, but normally you're able to play through it unless they end on, like, infinite negates. So, next up we have Sword Soul Emergence. This is a hit to Sword Soul, just so that Sword Soul isn't the dominant tier 1 meta-defining threat. I don't think Sword Soul, though, being the best deck is necessarily a negative, because it is pretty fair to play against without things like Protoss in the deck, right? When you're not having to deal with Protoss preventing special summoning, yeah, you should be fine. Next up, we have Numeron Network at 1. Yeah, this card's stupid. If you can deal with it once, good. Yeah, in best of ones, being able to just go, I'm going to summon out 3 or 4 monsters that are going to kill you if you have a singular monster on your side of the field is kind of dumb. Moving on, we have Rivalry of Warlords. As well as Summon Limit, Goes in Match, and There Can Be Only One. These are all just like the most popular floodgates. In all reality, some of these could probably be semi-limited. I didn't actually go with a semi-limited list, so they're all limited to 1 instead. So that's the limited. And next, I decided to actually unlimit quite a few cards, starting with my boy Psy-Frame Gear Gamma. Now, I have no idea why this is currently at 1 in the OCG, but it is. Why? This card is probably one of the best ways to stop a combo deck, but I guess it also hits Max C, so gotta be banned. Seriously, Max C is an issue. So yeah, without Max C, I think this card is A-OK. Multi-Faker. Alta guys aren't doing anything. Multi-Faker can go back to 3. We have a whole bunch of Pendulum support cards. Draco Slayer Luster Pendulum. Double Iris Magician. Chronograph Sorcerer. And Astrograph can all come back to 3. I would also put a limit to 1 on Kieran. Let me pull that up real quick. So this card right here, Magispector Unicorn Kieran. This card is really strong, to be fair. However, the thing is, in the current metagame, it's not actually all that powerful. But yeah, just, I mean, give it at 1. I think it'll be fine. It basically is only going to be searchable unless you're playing, if you're playing the Magispectors, and other than that, it's just going to be a kind of annoying one of. Similar to like the power level of DPE, except for Pendulums, which I don't think is a bad idea. So, yeah. Moving on, we have the Thunder Dragon Roar. This is just like the weakest of the Thunder Dragons, besides Dark, I guess. So, they lost Colossus, give them Roar. You can probably also give them Hawk as well, just Hawk to 3. But I didn't want to give them that right now. Maybe you could. I'm not entirely certain on that one. Next, we have Magical Meltdown. Alistair's not doing anything right now. Maybe this is a mistake, given the fact that the power level of the format might be going down, so Invoke Dogmatica Shaddoll might be better. But Alistair's not doing anything, so yeah, Magical Meltdown can come to 3. Trickstar Light Stage, same thing. Infernity Launcher, same thing. Scapegoat. What is Scapegoat doing in 2022? Genuinely. Turns are so fast that this can only be used to gain advantage if you use it during the end phase of your opponent's turn, which if you can do that, that means that you have survived to turn 3. While being in a position where you can activate a Scapegoat and have it resolve during the end phase, which is not as easy as it sounds. And then you would only get the advantage on that turn 3 and forward. So, yeah, it's fine. Moving on, we have the ABC Dragon Buster. This card is at 1 for some reason, can come to 3. It's at 3 in the TCG, and it's actually in Rogue. It's, like, very well balanced. I would love to see this card at 3. No reason to limit it. I really don't think so. So, yeah, that's the ban list that we ended up coming up with, but there are a few other things that I wanted to talk about. So, if you've been watching my channel recently, you've probably noticed that I've done a few videos with the Duelist Cup. Notably, I've done quite a few streams with them, and I actually did a video where I talked about the Duelist Cup and why I'm not the biggest fan of it. In terms of a format, it just kind of doesn't work. And the thing is, I think none of the events for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel have really been all that interesting. Yes, we've had alternative formats which have been nice, such as the NR format, the Limit 1 format, or whatever it may be. But all in all, as events, they've been pretty lackluster. When we look at something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, they have a wide variety of events that are pretty interesting and are fun to interact with. They're not specifically designed for PvP all the time, which I do like, but they constantly have 1 to 2 events going on at all times. It's one that's normally something to grind, and then one that is more of the main focus, like a raid battle or a tag duel tournament or turbo duels or stuff like that. Now that fits more of the casual theme very well, and while Master Duel is definitely more of a competitive style of event, they just released casual matches, so I would love to see a return to some of the event formats for maybe casual matches or duel rooms, and I would like to just see more in general from duel rooms. Right now, if I were to create a room and I go to the Forbidden and Limited list, I can only have the standard Forbidden and Limited list. No NR, no Fusion Festival, no Synchro Festival, no nothing. Even if I wanted to participate in those tournaments, I would or in those events, I would have to create a duel room with the standard ban list and then just hope that everyone else abides by it. So it's not really great for just creating a duel room or creating an experience. All of those events that we previously had are now just gone. I guess you can still technically play them, but it's not quite the same. So I would like to see that return, as well as just an upgrade in the events that we currently have. Duelist Cup has been terrible. If we look at the rewards, it's just a bunch of gems and some terrible, terrible legacy packs. Like, these Duelist Cup legacy pack tickets, what do I even get from them? Let's find out. Yes, my favorite card, Sinister Serpent. I mean, what are you getting from this? Doomdozer, I guess, for B Troopers and Giant Ballpark, and literally nothing else? There are no cards in here that are worth pulling for. And this is the problem that, like, a lot of these events have. They don't really have an incentive to grind out to get those bonuses. I mean, even if we look at the bonuses in Master Duel, we can see that, like, a lot of the bonuses for the Duelist Cup is so middling, so mediocre. Let's go to the rewards list. So yeah, you can see, like, a bunch of gems. Sure, that's nice. We get a celebration sleeve, and then for the second stage, if you get 1st through 10th, you get a title, an icon, and 20 reward tickets. Why? No gems, no in-game currency, no UR crafting points, no SR crafting points. These are literally the best players according to the system that Konami has given, and that's it? You get the gems from first stage, but you are the best player and you get a name and an icon? Huh. Sure. I guess. Like, this is the problem that I think a lot of the events have. There's no real incentive to even play the event, right? Unless you are literally just fighting for this title, why even play it? Why even play it? Right? I mean, hey, if you want the title, go for it. Don't lose your sanity over it, because no one will care. It's as simple as that. And it's so, like, especially when you compare this to other games, like, sure, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is smaller, so you can't compare this to something like League of Legends, where they give their challenger players a backpack or something like that. Now, that's in the past, but challenger players would also get a special recall, which was pretty cool. You know, what if you gave them... I mean, I guess that's technically a similar thing, but, like, there's got to be something, right? There's got to be something. These are the best players at your sanctioned tournament. I'm sure you could do something. And it's the same with Duel Links, so it's not like I'm saying much, but, I mean, just the events overall, I think I have a massive issue with, just because there really isn't any substance, right? Sure, NR format, I loved that. But I liked it because it was the NR format. It wasn't because of the event itself being well done. It was just like, oh yeah, like, it's a low power format that's pretty fun that I can just, like, build a deck. Like, I can go in here, I can be like, okay, yeah, let me just build a deck real quick. Click these two, boom, I get to build a deck with, you know, Cosmo Queen. I'm not going to, but I could, you know, and that was really cool. I was able to just kind of do my thing, build a deck. It was fun. Same with, like, Limit 1 Festival. Oh, I only need one of this card. Let me just build this really rather interesting deck. Maybe the format's pretty nice because it's, you know, a whole bunch of one-ofs, and you're not going to be called by it every time. You're not going to get a hand trap every time. You're not going to, you know, you're basically able to just continually play your game. So, you know, different formats like that are fun because they created something different. And right now, there isn't really much in the way of events that provide that unique diversity that I would like to see in Master Duel. Yeah, that's basically it. Just, it's not... this game isn't balanced for best of ones, and the events and rewards and stuff like that are pretty meh. I do, however, like the solo mode. That is one thing I do want to say. Master Duel is killing it right now with the solo modes. They're super fun. Even these SP challenges, sure, it makes no sense as to why you would ever be able to beat any of those decks with the loner decks, but it's so fun to just try and fail miserably every time. It's very funny. So yeah, there's that. I've been talking for a while, so yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much appreciated, and if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Also, if you want to check out my tournament that I will be hosting, check out the description down below with the Discord link. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.